Hello everyone. Well, I have a request every year from my sweet granddaughter Kai for gluten-free noodles. So I'm going to make some gluten-free noodles for her and set them out on a pan so I can get them ready. And I have my recipe. I got it from a very elderly lady before she passed away, and her mother had it. And I like the recipe. So I'm going to go ahead and try to set this stuff around. Then I'm going to make regular noodles too later. So I'm just going to take this, and we are going to use 1 1/4 cups. And I'm using, it's got a good seal on it, King Arthur, gluten-free, but I do something I want to show you. So let's do 1 1/4 cups, if that's enough. If not, I'm going to double it. 1 1/4. I don't know if that's going to be enough. Let me see here. I think that'll be enough for her. I make a little tiny pot for her, and then she gives me the little pan back. Okay, now we're going to first get something to stir it with. Dough thing. I had to get my dough hook thing. Okay, now 2 eggs. So you got 1 1/4 cup of gluten-free flour, and you can get Bob's Meal, or I got King Arthur because I ordered it from Amazon. So let's 2 eggs. I should have checked them, but they got the little stamp on them, so I'm trusting it. 2 eggs. Now, you put 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder in these, okay? Is that 1/4? Yeah. 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. I didn't understand that part, but she knew what she was doing. And then you want to put a little salt, just a little. And then you want to put, I'm going to put 1/4 teaspoon of xanthan gum. That makes your noodles and your cakes a little more pliable. Okay, so I'm going to put 1/4 teaspoon in that. Just add a little extra xanthan gum to make it flexible. Okay. All right. I'm trying to learn how to make a lot of gluten-free stuff, but mostly the noodles, okay? And then we have 1 tablespoon of melted butter, real butter. And then we'll mix all that out. Always put just tad. I put a tad bit extra flour. So let me see what we got here. We got it all together. Now, I always put a little bit of water in it, just a tad bit, because it just makes them nice. Probably a tablespoon, maybe. I asked a lady one day, I said, how do you make your noodles so nice? She said, I put a little bit of water in them. And then this other recipe from this other lady, and I just put them together. Might need a little more because I did put extra flour in there. Now, I can't use regular flour to roll these out because then you might as well forget about making gluten-free. So I have to use gluten-free flour to do it. Let me see here. That's probably, I've added 2 tablespoons, but remember I put a little extra flour in of her gluten-free flour. Now, I'm going to take this and move this stuff. Get back up there. Now I'm knocking everything over. And then I'm going to use the gluten-free flour to roll them out. You don't dare put the regular flour on or you've just messed up everything you've done. So for Kai Baby, I want to make sure these are done just right. And I really wash this cutting board off too. Love my cutting boards. That's all there is to it. I love them. That there. I know I'm going to make a mess, but you got to make a mess. These are very tender and tedious. The first time I made them, oh, I had a time. But the thing of it was, they were the prettier noodles than the other ones. They just are so nice. Got the dough. Now, I've got a pan over here, and I'm going to just sprinkle some of this on the pan so they won't stick to the pan. This I'm sprinkling. So let me put that over there for a minute. And let me get this ball. You see, you make a ball of it. That's all gluten-free with the xanthan gum. Work it with your hands. Any kind of bread or noodles loves your warm hands. I think possibly I may start going gluten-free myself. See that ball? There's our ball. Now, I'm going to take and put this in half. Put this over here in a bowl. And I'm just going to work with half of this. Work with half of it at a time. It's better. Okay. Now, for the other grandkids, I'm going to make regular noodles. So you got to watch, because that'll fall apart on you real quick. I actually forgot it was out already, and I was doing it hard. Do it easy. Easy peasy. Now, everyone will tell you to drop these in boiling water, but I don't. I use the broth. I tried it. I was so afraid the first time because they said only do it in water. I thought I'm going to try broth anyway just because I had 2 batches made practicing, and it done great. So I know what to do. I'm going to use the broth, and I already had a rotisserie chicken, and so I made homemade broth too. So it's all going to be homemade for. Hold on, I got to get a knife or a pizza cutter. I don't know where my pizza cutter is. Yeah. Pizza cutter disappeared. It disappeared, so I don't know where that thing's at. I don't have to use that, but it's nice to use. Anyway, let's do it the old way. Shoot. Now you can't roll these. I do not roll these. Okay, I'm going to use a knife. When you want your pizza cutter, it's never there, and then it shows up all of a sudden. Say, here I am. Okay, now, I'm just going to take a knife and cut the ends off of that. Make a square. Just take your time when you do this. I know a lot of women probably says, well, I don't have to take my time, but I do. So I'm just going to cut this. I'll show you. They'll fall apart real easy. See how that one fell apart already? But I'm going to lay it on the pan. I'm going to take this pan with the gluten-free flour on it, and I'm going to lay them there. They'll dry quicker than any other noodle. You do it real gently. Put it on the pan. Just let it lay there so it'll dry. You see how easy they break? You got to be real gentle with them. It takes time, but it's worth it. Sometimes the labor of love takes time sometimes. A lot of times. And I just keep cutting. I'll do a section here. Let me move this out of your way. You could mix the gluten-free flour off of your board to the regular, but you can't add the regular flour to your gluten-free. It just won't work. You might as well forget your work in it. You got to make sure there's no flour regular whatsoever mixing in with this, even on your boards or anything. Cut that off of there. So I just, cut them. Pizza cutter is very much easier because it just rolls. Okay, now. Put this up there. I'm going to start putting these on there, but I want to cut across here. So Kai will have real home canned broth in her noodles and chicken, and that needs to go a little bit smaller. It's too thick. And the broth and these noodles. So that'll make a nice grandma love homemade thing. I've already got her gluten-free pumpkin roll. We had that online. We done that live. You just gently lay these out. I'll tell you what, they'll be the most beautiful noodles when they're done. This is the pan I usually use for her noodles so I can know how many I got there for her little pot. And the pan I make them in is so special to me. And she always gives it back to me because I like that pan real well. I tell her, if you give it to me and bring it or give it back to me, I will fill it up again sometime. Certain pans and little pots and stuff like that you get accustomed to and you like them because they came from somebody special, an elderly person. Just keep doing that. Just let these lay until I get ready to do the noodles, and they'll be freshly and dry. I don't even, you know how your regular noodles, you just go like this. I don't even do that with these because I'll just mess them up. They're very gentle, but doable. And they're pretty noodles. I'm telling you, when you get them done, they're pretty noodles when you get them in that pot and boil it and just let them lay there. Don't try to stir them too much. Just like a dumpling. You stir the bejeebies out of it, you're going to have little pieces. Okay. We don't want to miss that. We're going to throw that in there too. We don't want to miss one bit of this. Throw these in there. The last little noodle here. There they are. Then I'm going to do the rest of them, put them in there. Now, some of them might not look even and stuff, but that's how you do when you make homemade stuff. All right, let's do this again. Any little noodle pieces I'm going to put in there. Just rest this now. We got another one. That'll fill the other side of that pan. About halfway on this chair. That don't feel good. So we need to get this worked up pretty quickly. Softly and gently. Softly and gently, the Savior is calling, calling to carry you home. I don't know if that's the right words or not. Now we're going to cut them. See, that one broke already because I cut it hard. If I had the pizza cutter. I'm going to go on and on about that pizza cutter, aren't I? That thing's going to get out in the open here pretty soon when I find it. I've got so many gadgets. It might be in there. I'm not going to look now. I'm about done.